Good morning. How you doing? It's Phil Thatch, and I'm in the blind again this morning. And today I have the Canon R7, and I don't even know if you can see it. I have the 70 to 200 2.8 because today I'm trying to get hummingbirds. Heather and I have planted lantana flower and a couple of other hummingbird attracting plants out here. We don't even have a hummingbird feeder out here, but it seems like almost every day we see a hummingbird out the window. And I've moved the lantana up high to where it doesn't have too much stuff blocking the background or cluttering up the background. And I'm hoping that one of these hummingbirds, these are ruby-throated hummingbirds that we've been seeing, probably females, maybe juvenile males. Hopefully one of those will fly up and I'll be able to get a shot of it. I'm using, like I say, the 70 to 200 2.8. I'm going to shoot wide open at 2.8. You need a lot of shutter speed for hummingbirds. And I'm shooting electronic first curtain, so hopefully that will get rid of the rolling shutter problems that I would have if I was shooting electronic shutter, which I prefer electronic shutter, and I'm going to use the fastest frame rate, which I think with electronic first curtain is 15 frames per second, which is not bad. It's not lightning fast. The electronic first curtain shutter is loud, but it's not as loud as the full mechanical. The full mechanical is louder than my old Nikon D800. But anyway, hopefully something will come up, and if it does, I'll show it to you soon. The first bird I saw and photographed was a Carolina wren, which is super common, but I haven't seen them out here the last 2 or 3 times I've been out to the blind, so that was nice. And, you know, I've got that lantana flower sitting up high, and a lot of other flowers that I have growing out here have kind of grown up to where they're blocking my regular perches. So it was a little bit tricky to get a shot of the Carolina wren on my regular perches while I'm kind of in hummingbird mode. So hopefully a hummingbird will show up. In the meantime, let's look at the little Carolina wren. All right, look at that Carolina wren. Today, all of the shots are going to be at 200 millimeters and all the shots are going to be wide open at 2.8. So the only thing that's going to change is the shutter speed and the ISO, or some people say ISO. And I'll just call that out to you and keep everything full screen. This one is 1/2000th and ISO 320. Beautiful little Carolina wren on one of my perches. And I got another angle of it there. So here it is looking in this direction, and here it is looking in this direction. And if you watch the channel much, you'll know that I like to try to get 2 poses on the same perch if possible when I photograph birds. Not seeing a whole lot today, but I did see the Carolina wren again. Here's the Carolina wren again. This time it's on my Stump perch. This is 1/3200th of a second and ISO 800. And you know, there are 16 photographs in this video, and 13 of those are on top of this Stump perch. It's just a branch of a tree that I cut the top and the bottom off of, and I screwed it onto the hand railing of the back porch. And if you want to get an idea of scale, from side to side, the Stump perch is 3.5 inches across. So if you're watching this, like for example, I'm watching this on a 32-inch monitor, and it is 10 inches across right now. And some of the ones that are zoomed a little bit more will be bigger, and some that are zoomed a little bit less will be less than that. But always the Stump perch is 3.5 inches across if you want to get an idea of the scale. And I haven't seen my woodpeckers out here in a while, but the male downy woodpecker showed up. And we have some new food that we're trying. They were out of the nut and berry blend. Let's see what it's called. Pennington Ultra Double Nut and Fruit Blend. We bought some of that. Heather got some of that for me. And the downy woodpecker male came up and grabbed a great big nut, and I got a picture of it. So let's look at that. Here's the male downy woodpecker, and you can see the lantana flower bokeh-fied in the foreground, and it's on my angle perch, getting ready to go to the Stump perch where it will find that seed. This is 1/3200th and ISO 640, and this one is 1/3200th and ISO 800. And there is the downy woodpecker. Now, the Stump perch also has the lantana in the foreground, which I left in on this shot, but most shots I'm able to crop that out or frame it differently because my subject is on the top instead of the kind of the top and the side. But I was really happy to see the male downy woodpecker enjoying the new bird seed. A Carolina chickadee showed up. Still no hummingbirds though. Here's a Carolina chickadee. This is 1/3200th of a second and 500 ISO. there on top of the stump perch. I like how in this shot you can see a little bit of brown in the feathers right here and right here. There are more colors to a Carolina chickadee than are apparent when you just get a glance of them. Here's another shot of that same Carolina chickadee, same settings, up on top of the stump perch and enjoying some of the seed there that's in the carved out section in the top of the stump perch. As the morning progresses, we're starting to get a little bit more light out here, and 1/3200th of a second at 2.8 is easy on the ISO now. And about that time, a male house finch came up, and then the Carolina chickadee returned, possibly a different one. So I got shots of those at really high shutter speed and not much ISO. Very nice. There's the male house finch. This is 1/3200th and 500 ISO. They're on top of the stump perch enjoying some seed. Pretty sharp shot. I was happy with this one. Carolina chickadee on the stump perch. This is 1/3200th of a second and 320 ISO. Kind of scraggly looking are the feathers of this Carolina chickadee. My next visitor was a European starling. Still no hummingbirds, unfortunately. There is the European starling up on top of the stump perch, and you can see it's a much larger bird. It dwarfs the stump perch below it. I'm up to 1/4000th now for this shot and 250 ISO. 1/4000th of a second and 200 ISO for this shot of the male house finch on top of my stump perch. I like this shot a lot, but I wish the head angle was just a little different. I wish he would turn his head just a few degrees to the left, and it would have made this shot much better. Oh no, there's Rodney. Rodney has found the seeds on top of the stump perch. I can always tell it's Rodney because he has damage to his right ear. He's not a bad guy. I like to take pictures of him from time to time. This is 1/4000th and ISO 200. And now I'm up to 1/5000th and my ISO is still hovering at 200 here of this Carolina chickadee shot as it's enjoying some seed, and you can see a little bit of brown in its feathers as well right here. I love that. Same bird, same perch, same settings, just this time it doesn't have a seed in its mouth. And you can see I have the sun rising behind me, and you can see the glint of the sun in this bird's eye. That's why there's such nice light on all these birds, because the sun is coming up to my back and on the birds. Look at the chipmunk, and he has got a mouthful of seeds. I don't know if the birds get much of the seeds because the chipmunk eats so much of it, but I'm always happy to see the chipmunk, and we've got the boccified lantana in the foreground of this shot. This is 1/5000th and ISO 200. The Carolina wren came back and landed on top of my stump perch, which is possibly my favorite perch. It's certainly been the most used today, and I like shooting at 1/5000th and f2.8 and only 200 ISO, so I got a shot of it on the stump perch. This is my favorite shot of the day, and it's the same bird as in the first shot of the day, just in much better light. Another shot at 1/5000th of a second, 200 ISO on top of the stump perch. Just really beautiful. Love the way this one turned out. The eye is perfectly in focus, and the head angle is nice, and the bird's body kind of drifts off of the plane of focus, and by the time you get to the tail, it's pretty much bokeh-fied, and I like that. Just a beautiful shot, my favorite of the day. I didn't get a shot of the hummingbird though, so that's kind of a bummer. Thanks for joining me for another morning of bird photography out here in my bird photography blind. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, reach down, hit the thumbs up button. And you want to see some more, subscribe and hit the bell. And as always, I look forward to seeing you, hopefully, in my next video. Bye-bye.